that are related with the financial transactions. They can deal with the it can deal with the lack of awareness, and the end beneficiaries can be aware of the their rights and their securities and their strengths and opportunities, so they can choose better. And there are challenges of limited knowledge about the benefits of digital financial services, that many people do not know what they can have through the financial system. So digital financial literacy can deal with that. Now, the lack of digital literacy and issues related to technology and networking. Many people can only operate a mobile to make calls. They even can't write an SMS. So digital literacy can be a game changer in this area, and if they are digitally literate, they can read and know the options and technical issues to how to solve a problem. And lack of training and skills to agents. Many agents of the banks suffer from lack of training. So if the bank takes initiatives of digital financial literacy, then it can be solved. And legal and regulatory issues. Many people are not aware of legal and regulatory issues. Only the direct stakeholders are known to them. Digital financial literacy can solve this problem too. And there are perseverance of high cost and of services. So rural people have fear that they do not want to go to the bank because of the perseverance of high cost. Digital financial literacy can give them the knowledge about the cost. And lack of trust, lack of greater integration and interoperability, and problem of dormancy. These issues can also be solved by digital financial literacy. Now we can see the major players of digital financial literacy. The government is the first initiator here. Government can initiate awareness programs, including financial literacy in national curriculum, textbook board, involving secondary and higher secondary institutions in the journey. And the major player is central bank. Central bank can introduce training, awareness programs, survey, broadcasting in different media like TV, radio, newspaper, social media, etc., and make the people digitally financially literate. But central bank will do it through the financial institutions, mobile financial institutions, and the development partners, and they can play an important role in this, and they can educate their officials and customers by designing and updating user-friendly DFL technologies using banner, poster, infographics, leaflet, slogan, etc. And mobile financial institutions can introduce guiding and directing users through SMS, calls, customer care, television commercial, simulation games, social media campaigning, etc. And development partners are already funding many digital financial literacy programs in urban, semi-urban and rural area. So the recommendations from my side are: recognizing the importance of financial education through legislation where appropriate at the national level, cooperation with relevant stakeholders, and identifying a key moderator or coordinating body or council, establishing a roadmap to support the achievement of specific and predetermined objectives, providing guidance on individual programs to be implemented under the national strategy in order to efficiently and appropriately contribute to the overall strategy. And last but not the least, incorporating monitoring and evaluation process to assess the progress of the strategy and amend it accordingly. So that's all from my side. We can hope to proceed together towards a digitally financial literate society very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Shoheli Appa, for your details and depth presentations, and the last slide regarding the recommendation how we can move forward for financial literacy and increase the usage of financial products in Bangladesh. So now I am going to the panelist, and we are starting with Miss Smita. So Smita, so you have the practical experience to work on like financial inclusion and financial literacy work in the garment sector. Especially her project is implementing digital waste program in the garment sector, and you are working with the women workers to improve their financial health and well-being. And as we see during the pandemic last year, so because of the guidelines or regulations from central bank and government, the entire garments wages was digitized last year to get the stimulus package from the government, and almost 4 million of garments worker receives their wages digitally during that time. And also, as we've seen last 4 or 5 years, a huge number of garments industries digitize their wages, and they are paying the wages through different types of digital channels like mobile financial services and banking. So as you have a direct experience to work in this sector, so according to your experience, do you think that there are still challenges for the garments worker to use their financial accounts or the digital accounts properly? And do you think that is there any need of financial awareness or financial literacy program for these beneficiary groups so that they can be an advanced user of digital financial service? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tohurul Bhai, and thank you to the organizers for inviting me to this webinar. And topic is very interesting and very close to my organization and myself. So basically, Tohurul Bhai already gave everyone a sort of a background of PSR and HERproject, and but still just a few lines from me who don't know us. We are a global non-profit business network. So it's an organization that is totally non-profit, and we work with different, NGOs and garment supply chain buyers, garment factories, and workers to implement different type of programs. And one of our flagship program is HERproject program, and HERproject has different pillars that are ongoing in Bangladesh since 2010. And Her Finance Digital Wages program is one of our important program here that we have started in 2015. In the country, and we have reached 250,000 workers to support them to digitize their payments from cash to digital. And we have been working with the industry for a long period of time on this topic, and also with the banking sector as well, and definitely with A2I, obviously. So yes, in terms of the progress that we have made a lot of progress in the industry that we can see in terms of digital financial inclusion level, at least, because now, as Tohurul Bhai already mentioned, that many workers are receiving their salary already through mobile banking channel mostly, and also bank providers, etc. But that push actually happened during the pandemic period of time. That's why so many accounts were opened and people were being able to receive their payment. But the thing is that not all the accounts are being sustained. So there is a large number of dropouts as well that we all know. We have seen news articles on that as well, which is like, even though many accounts were opened in that time, but not all the accounts are getting the salary at the moment, but still a lot of accounts are still active where employers are paying the salary. But from our experience in the field, what we have seen that it's very important in terms of helping women workers specifically. So there are barriers that already Ms. Shoheli during her presentation already mentioned a few barriers and how digital financial literacy can be a game changer. So for garment payment as well, it's the same. This is a huge potential group of clients for the for the MFS because this group earns salary every month, and most likely they will use the account very actively if they have the correct knowledge and if they have the confidence. And since this industry is dominated by female workers, that's why it's important, like there are customized financial literacy training campaigns only for female workers, because they face different type of barriers. For example, the barrier comes from the access to use to control over their accounts. So in terms of access, there are issues. We know that their NID is still a problem. Their accounts are, sort of opened, but still it's not always NID is used to register those accounts permanently. And then not only, the NID issue, but also like there are other family dynamics that works here, like the situation in a household. If there is an account, then it is usually owned by a main family member. So there are sometimes we have seen in our program, like it was necessary for some of the female workers to get permission from her husband or even father to be able to just open an account. So access and in terms of usability, like most of the female workers, we have seen that they, after the training, they feel very confident and then they start using the account, but it takes time for them to learn the nitty-gritties of the account. And when they are, and when they become confident, they use it very actively. In our program, we have seen that every month on an average, a female worker is making transactions with their account at least 8 times. So it's a lot of transaction going on, and they send money to their village, they top up their phones because they are the earner. So when the earning is in the MFS account, so that's a easy, that makes their life easier, but that can only happen when they are properly aware. So we have training materials and resources available both in Bangla and English in our website, and I can post a link here that can be used for, for any financial literacy campaign. So we have been working with different partners to promote the literacy piece, that access is not enough. Just opening an account is not enough. They are, really in the primary stage of using the account. So if we want to make them an active user of the account, then there is no alternative to financial literacy trainings. So yeah, so that's sort of all from my side. And we have also from our organization, developed a series of reports, and that are from our learnings from all these, years. And I'm happy to share the links as well in the chat box so that you can have a look. And we do have posters that we have developed also with A2I as well, that was used in the financial literacy campaign. So that can be used for, massive campaign as well in the country. So I think there is definitely a need to answer your question, to provide for the garment sector, obviously, because just giving an account is not enough. So they won't use it. And for the entire country, definitely. So there is a need, and we do have resources that can be used. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Abba. This is really, I can say, the real experiences as you are working in that field. So I think it will help today's panelists as well as the other audience today, so to learn the finance project activities and your financial literacy activities especially. So how you are helping the women workers to promote them as an advanced user of digital financial service. Thank you. So now I am going to Ms. Afurza Tanzi. So as you are working with rural people, especially who are excluded from the financial systems. And we are also seen that in the rural area, especially, the exclusion rate is really high. So as you are working with them and you have seen the challenges, so in light of your experiences, what are the current status of financial literacy at the rural level, especially women in Bangladesh, and how financial literacy can help these rural women to empower them economically?
Thank you very much, Tohurul Bhai, for the question. For those of who do not know me, I'm Afurza Tanzi. I run a project named Protibha under Its Humanity Foundation. I have recently received the Dian Award for providing financial literacy training to women in remote areas of Bangladesh. So to explain what I do, basically in rural and remote areas is, so I went on a survey for children in rural areas as a voluntary service. And then I found out that women in few areas in Bangladesh, they do not even believe that women are capable of earning. ওরা যেটা চিন্তা করে যে মহিলারা তো ঘরের কাজ করবে, and they do not have any capability to earn. And this is something very triggering because even it was back in 2018. So even in 2018, there were families in Bangladesh যেখানে আমাদের রাষ্ট্র চালাচ্ছেনই মহিলারা, যেখানে আমাদের বড় বড় পদে মহিলারা আছেন দেশের, ওই জায়গাটাতে ওরকম একটা দেশেও রুরাল এরিয়াতে মানুষ বিশ্বাস করে যে মহিলারা are not capable of earning. So ওখান থেকেই beginning এ আমাদের আইডিয়াটা আসে that we need to train people, we need to aware people, and আমাদের মানুষের সাথে কথা বলতে হবে to spread the idea যে মহিলারা কতটুকু capability রাখেন for financial support, supporting families financially. ওখান থেকে শুরু করে so we started awareness campaigns. আমি এটাকে awareness campaigns না বলে open discussions বলতে বেশি স্বাচ্ছন্দ্য বোধ করি। সেটার কারণ হচ্ছে আমি যখনই একটা গ্রামীণ পরিবেশে ঢুকবো একজন আউটসাইডার হয়ে, একজন শহরের মানুষ গিয়ে, তখন ওরা কখনো আমাদেরকে স্বাভাবিকভাবে মেনে নেয় না। বা যখন আমি হয়তো কোনো ভারী কথা বলতে যাব, কোনো নতুন একটা আইডিয়া ওদেরকে দিতে যাব, ওই তখন ব্যাপারটা হয়ে যায় যে একটা আউটসাইডার এসে কিভাবে আমার সিচুয়েশনটা বুঝবে। তো একজন এনজিও কর্মী হিসেবে আমাদের যেটা ফার্স্ট গুরুত্বটা থাকে, আমরা ওই কমিউনিটিতে যাই এবং ওখানে থেকে ওদের মাইন্ডসেটটা বোঝার চেষ্টা করি। এবং যেটা মোস্ট অফ দ্য কেসেসে আমরা প্রত্যেকটা ফ্যামিলিতেই বলতে গেলে একটাই কাহিনী ছিল, সেটা হচ্ছে এত মেন সেন্ট্রিক ফ্যামিলিগুলা, এতটুকুই পিতৃতান্ত্রিক সমাজের আমাদের ওই এরিয়াগুলোতে, আমি নর্থ বেঙ্গলে স্পেসিফিক্যালি কাজ করি, যে ওরা বাচ্চাদেরকে স্কুলে না পাঠায় কাজে পাঠাবে, কিন্তু মহিলাদেরকে কাজ করতে দিবে। কারণ হোয়াট ইফ দ্য মহিলা ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট হয়ে যায় ফাইন্যান্সিয়ালি, তখন সে ডোমেস্টিক ভায়োলেন্সের এগেইনস্টে স্ট্রং হয়ে যাবে, সে নিজের অধিকার নিয়ে স্ট্রং হয়ে যাবে, সে তখন জানবে যে রাষ্ট্র কর্তৃক বা ধর্ম কর্তৃক তার অধিকার আছে টু গেট দ্য ওনার পিতার কাছ থেকে সম্পত্তি, ওনার হাজবেন্ডের কাছ থেকে সম্পত্তি। এই জিনিসগুলোর কারণেই, এই ব্যারিয়ার গুলার কারণেই এমনকি বাচ্চারাও স্কুলে যেতে পারে না, কারণ দে গো টু আর্ন ফর দেয়ার ফ্যামিলিজ। সো ওখান থেকে শুরু করে আমরা যেটা স্টার্ট করলাম, উই স্টার্টেড টকিং। আমরা কোনো ধরনের জ্ঞান দেওয়া বা ক্যাম্পেইন করার আগে আমরা কথা বলা শুরু করলাম যে কিভাবে প্রত্যেকটা মহিলা আসলে আর্ন করতে পারে এবং আর্নিং আসলে কতটা ইজি। এরপরে ওই ধাঁচটা ধরে উই স্টার্টেড ট্রেনিং দেম। আমরা মহিলাদেরকে কাঁথা সেলাই, কুশি কাটা, রিক্সা আর্ট করা বিভিন্ন ট্রেনিং দিয়ে থাকি, যে ট্রেনিং গুলো আমরা ওদেরকে একটা সাস্টেইনেবল আর্নিং অপরচুনিটি দেওয়ার জন্য কাজে লাগাচ্ছি। তো আপনার যে কোয়েশ্চেনটা একদম স্পেসিফিক্যালি যদি আমি অ্যান্সার করতে চাই যে সিচুয়েশনটা কি অফ রুরাল ওমেন, ওটা আমি আমার যে আগের স্পিকারটা ছিলেন স্মিতা আপু, ওনার সাথে একই প্যারালালে রেখে কথাটা বলতে চাই যে ল্যাক অফ ইনফরমেশনটাই সবচেয়ে বড় ব্যারিয়ার এখানে। সবচেয়ে বাজে সিচুয়েশন এটাই যে ওরা জানেনই না যে ওদের ওরা কি করতে পারেন। ওরা এটাই জানেন না যে দেয়ার ইজ বিকাশ যেটা ওদেরকে হেল্প করতে পারবে, দেয়ার আর এমএফআইস যেটা ওদেরকে হেল্প করতে পারবে। ওরা এটাই জানেন না যে মহিলারা আসলে ব্যাংকে গিয়ে অ্যাকাউন্ট খুলতে পারবেন বা সঞ্চয়পত্র কিনতে পারবেন। আমি যদি কখনো চিন্তা করি about financial literacy, so there are 6 points which are the pillars of financial literacy. You earn, you spend, you save, you invest, you borrow, and you protect. for a rural woman in a remote area of Bangladesh, একটা গ্রামে একজন গ্রামীণ মহিলা, উনি শুধু আর্ন অ্যান্ড স্পেন্ডের মধ্যেই সীমাবদ্ধ, ম্যাক্সিমাম এতটুকু ওদের পার্টিসিপেশন অনেক কম। বাট যদি পার্টিসিপেশন কারো ফাইন্যান্সিয়াল সিচুয়েশনে হয়েও থাকে, সেটা হচ্ছে অনলি আর্ন অ্যান্ড স্পেন্ড। এরপরে যে সেভ আছে, এরপরে যে ইনভেস্ট আছে, বড় আছে, প্রোটেকশন আছে, ওই ব্যাপারগুলা নিয়ে মহিলারা তো পরের কথা, অনেক ম্যাক্সিমাম ফ্যামিলিতে পুরুষরাও সেই ক্ষেত্রে ওদের ওই জ্ঞানটা বা ওই ওটুকু নলেজটা নেই। এখন আমরা যদি চিন্তা করি ওই ক্ষেত্রে যে নলেজটা যদি নেই, ওটা কাদের ব্যর্থতা, ওটা কেন নেই, ওটা তো থাকা উচিত। সো দিস ইজ দ্য অ্যাক্সেস টু ইনফরমেশন দ্যাট উই ডু নট হ্যাভ। দিস ইজ দ্য অ্যাক্সেস টু ইনফরমেশন, যেটা আমরা এত সিম্পল একটা ইনফরমেশনকে আমরা অ্যাক্সেস করতে পারছি না, অ্যাভেলেবল করতে পারছি না ইন দ্য রিমোট এরিয়াস। অ্যান্ড এইটাই সিচুয়েশন। আমি বলবো না যে সিচুয়েশনটা খারাপ, আমি বলবো যে সিচুয়েশনটা এখন ওখানে পৌঁছাতেই পারে, ওরা এখন ওই আলোর বাইরে রয়ে গিয়েছে। এমন অনেক এরিয়া বাংলাদেশে আছে যেখানে মহিলাদের আগে এটা জানতে হবে যে আই এম কেপেবল অফ আর্নিং, তারপর ওদের জানতে হবে যে আমি যখন আর্নিং করা শুরু করব, দেয়ার আর ওয়েজ কিভাবে আমি আর্ন করতে পারবো, কিভাবে শহরে বসে কেউ আমাকে অর্ডার দিলে একটা কাজের, আমি সেটা ওনাকে ফেরত পাঠাতে পারবো এবং সেখান থেকে আমি উপার্জন করতে পারবো। সো আমাদের অবশ্যই সেভ, ইনভেস্ট, বরো এন্ড প্রোটেকশন, the last four pillars of digital, the last four pillars of financial literacy, এই চারটাতে অনেক ফোকাস করতে হবে, because in most of the families earning and spending are there, but for the rest of the four it's challenging and we need to protect that.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Afurza. So you are basically pointed out basically the basic challenges to include the women, not only financial inclusion, but also any types of social and formal activities in our society. So yeah, we will discuss that later. So now I am coming to Mohammad Shahriar Siddiqui, Deputy General Manager, Bangladesh Bank. Sir, as you are working in the banking regulations and inspection division, so and you are a central banker. So what should be the role of financial institutions, especially the banks and non-banking financial institutions, to educate their customers and the financially excluded citizens? And do you have any other separate guideline for financial institutions to do that?
Thank you, moderator, distinguished audience, presenters, panelists, good evening. First, I'd like to give thanks to Shoheli for giving a comprehensive presentation. I'd like to start first that what actually we are talking about. We are discussing about the digital financial literacy. Basically, it is a multi-dimensional concept. It actually integrates financial literacy, financial capability, and digital literacy. So if we have the financial literacy and we also have the digital literacy, but the financial capability does matters. I hope that. So actually, I just going to the basic points. So actually, if we look back to the SDG goal number 4, there we are committed to ensure the financial literacy for the all. With this view, Bangladesh Bank in its strategic plan that was for the 2020-2024, it includes the strengthened financial education and financial literacy initiatives. If we look at the national financial inclusion strategies, what widely known as NFIS, that was recently approved, that is in May 2021, that actually mandated for that NFIS was mandated for promoting financial literacy and consumer empowerment. Moreover, the experience of COVID-19 pandemic induced Bangladesh Bank to formulate a financial literacy guidelines. Department of Financial Inclusion, they drafted one guidelines for the financial literacy. That was one circulated in February 2021 for the stakeholders consultation as well as the public opinion. So in this, the financial literacy providers in this document, we actually the guidelines issued to encourage the two main providers we have targeted. One is the scheduled banks, another is the mobile service providers. And in these guidelines, actually, it identified some target groups and emphasized on the different various communication tools as well as approaches. Indeed, in addition, we think that we have a demographic dividend and also the density dividend. And we may use this dividend for this financial inclusion. If you look one statistics that more than 50% of our population is under age of 35. They are actually attaining either higher secondary or the tertiary education. So in our education systems, in the systems ability, we can incorporate this type of financial literacy program to develop the financial skills. And this is the primary initiatives for the central bank actually issue guidelines. We think that the guidelines will not be enough. We need the act for it to make it more effective. So thank you very much from this my part. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your very short and specific suggestions. So now we are moving to Mr. Mohammad Ashraful Alam, General Manager, Bangladesh Bank, sir. So you have a long experience working in the public sector as a central banker as well as in the development community. So according to your experience, so what are the initiatives that the private sector, especially service providers, can take to increase the awareness of the customers of digital financial service? And what will be the role of government to increase awareness and encouraging the private sector to do that?
Thank you, Tohurul bhai, for giving me the floor. Good evening, the presenter, the honorable panelists, and the viewers, listeners. This is a very, timely webinar topic DFFB has chosen, and the presenter has given an overview of the importance of financial literacy, digital financial literacy, basically for facilitating financial inclusion. And from so far, three panelists, distinguished panelists of today's webinar, we have heard that how digital financial literacy is critical for moving the needle of financial inclusion in Bangladesh. So if I basically answer your specific question, that what private sector can do, provider can do, and what government agencies or government as a whole can do in encouraging the private sector in mobilizing digital financial literacy for facilitating financial inclusion. So I would say that what I am basically going to say is completely my personal opinion. As there is a tag in my along with my name that I am the General Manager of Bangladesh Bank. What I am going to say is not in any way represent the opinion of Bangladesh Bank. This is totally my personal opinion. So with this disclaimer, I would like to say that private sector or the financial services provider will always basically promote their products, and in doing so, they might provide some generic financial literacy and digital literacy to support the potential clients to uptake their products. They will not be basically provide generic financial literacy or generic digital financial literacy as a whole, like fraudulent activities or what cautions the clients should take, what are the Ponzi schemes or what are the fraudulent schemes in the market. So sometimes they will not talk about all these issues that are very critical for people with no or fewer or less financial literacy and less or fewer digital literacy. So there is basically a dilemma in expanding financial or digital financial literacy in a large scale, because we know that without market incentives, the private sector will not work. Why should they provide financial literacy to a market segment that is not attractive to attractive to them as a market segment? And that's why we can see that in our mass media, we do not see much campaign on a specific customer segment like RMG workers. Specifically for RMG workers, you would not find much campaign from our digital financial services providers in general. I mean, there are some, but I'm talking in general that we will see less less of mass media campaign regarding bottom of the pyramid people, those segments, those market segments that are not attractive to the financial services providers. So here comes the role of the government, that how government can encourage the financial service provider to act in favor of the government. I mean, providing generic financial and digital literacy to the general public, which will basically in the long run beneficial for the private sector providers. So government can help the private sector providers in several ways, like providing incentives to provide financial literacy to the general public, or less targeted customer segments like women of the rural areas, people of the bottom of the pyramid segments in the society, and RMG workers, or specifically customer segments that are not attracted or not targeted by in general by the financial service provider. What can be the incentives by the government? It can be like, say we are offering licenses to the fintech nowadays, right? Central bank is providing licenses, or there are government programs for innovation startups. So all these incentive mechanism, providing licenses. So central bank can promote specific customer segments. Fintechs to come up with innovative ideas for specific customer segments. Government can promote innovation in specific customer segment and provide them seed money, provide them policy support, provide them shared office spaces, whatever in general we are providing without any targeting. So what I am saying, that government can provide incentives targeting specific customer segments that are currently being not targeted by the private sector. So I would like to stop here for the time being. I will try to elaborate in later stages. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think you have pointed out different issues that we can consider for future to promote the financial literacy in our country. And from A2I, you also Actually, for last 2 years back, we did a compilations of financial literacy activity, what different organizations are currently doing for financial literacy, and where we have found that different organizations, especially the development sector like HERfinance, Change Associate, BRAC, and other organizations, they are doing very interesting things to increase the financial literacy for their customer segment especially. And also we published a book. I don't have the link now, hopefully we will share it later. And where we have found that basically, actually, so financial literacy, if you consider the customer segment, it is a huge number of customer unbanked people that we are talking about. So obviously, one-to-one or classroom literacy or education is not effective for that group. So we need some innovative and like innovative approach. So how we can include a large number of people in our literacy activity. So at that moment, so I think going further to the panelists for the second round, we can take some questions from the audience. I think it will help them to better understand today's discussions, and also for us to better understand the audience views. So you can put your question in the chat box. I think this will be the appropriate method. Otherwise, giving the opportunity for you to talk, I think it will be difficult to manage. So although we have two questions in the chat box, so the first question was, so whether there is any definitions of financial literacy that we adopted in Bangladesh. এটা কি কেউ অ্যানসার করতে পারে কিনা কোশ্চেন? আমার মনে হয় কিনোট স্পিকার বা এখানে অন্য কেউ কি অ্যানসার করতে পারে এটা, যে আমরা কোনো আসলে বাংলাদেশের জন্য কোনো ফিনান্সিয়াল লিটারেসি ডেফিনেশন অ্যাডাপ্ট করেছে কিনা?
If you allow, I can answer this question.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. In the NFIS document, the National Financial Inclusion Strategy paper, we actually included our own definition of the financial inclusion. And I might go through the definitions that access of individuals and business, including unserved and underserved, to the full range of financial services facilitated with technology provided at affordable cost, with quality, ease of access, and a scope of risk mitigation in responsible and sustainable manner through a regulated, transparent, efficient, and competitive financial marketplace. That is the definition actually adopted by our NFIS document. Thank you.
Okay, Ashraful, sir, I think you hand raised.
Thank you. Shahriar has given the definition of financial inclusion, which has been adopted in the National Financial Inclusion Strategy recently, approved by the government of Bangladesh. So far in Bangladesh, we do not have a, formal definition for, national definition for financial literacy. We utilize World Bank definition, and sometimes we utilize the, AFI definition. So, but we do not have a national definition of financial literacy as per se. But we have a target on financial literacy in the National Financial Inclusion Strategy. Also, Bangladesh Bank, Bangladesh Bank strategic plan, as well as SDG goal. So, but we do not have any specific definition adopted as a national definition of financial literacy.
Thank you. So I think another question is specifically to Ashraful Alam, sir. So one participant questions, do you think private organizations' role in financial literacy will bring any positive impact on their business?
This answer is yes, without any hesitation, because as you were saying to honorable moderator, that we have large segments of underserved and unserved segments for financial services, and government cannot reach out to each and every individual in each of these clusters, each of these customer segments. It has to be a market-led approach. It has to be, I mean, market incentives needs to be there. Yes, I am in favor of private initiative without any hesitation, but at the same time, I mean, government should create market incentives for the market players to go for that. Without proper incentive, yes, of course, private enterprise will not go there. So the role of government is to create incentives for the private providers, and it will be effective. I mean, only private initiative can be effective, and it can be scaled up. It can be scaled up so that we can reach out to the unreached customer segment, quickly than, the traditional way of providing subsidies and government initiatives. Definitely, private-led initiative is much more efficient than public sector-led initiative. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we don't have any question now, so we can go to panelists, and then if we have any question, then we will again come back for the question answer session. So now I am going back to Smita. So I think as you have already mentioned that you are doing different types of financial literacy activities for the garments work, and you already shared the link in the chat box for today's participants to see what you are doing and what are the tools and techniques that you are using. So what can you offer for the government and other stakeholders, how we can work together with HERfinance and to better improvement of financial literacy in Bangladesh?
Thank you, Tohurul Bhai, for your question. And before answering to that question, I just wanted to add with Ashraf Bhai for the private sector business benefit one, because we have been asked about this question many times from the garment sector employers and also from the financial institutions and also from the buyers. So the answer is for what we have seen, financial service providers like banks and MFS, who have organized trainings and awareness campaigns and financial literacy campaigns in the factories or with the garment workers, the problems were way more less. So their hassle reduced, and their time, investment to manage one account has also reduced. They have told us many times that we have to do it and we need to do that. The problem from the financial service providers was they have many clients and they have probably limited staff. So not all the clients can be served equally. So the thing is that, but they do feel that it's necessary because it reduces their problem, their headache. And from the garment sector, from the employers, like the owners, factory owners and managers, they want to train everyone, but their problem is the production pressure. So due to the massive, production pressure that factory faces, they are sometimes, they face difficulties to provide time for this sort of trainings and awareness, but they are also telling us that this is so important. That also reduces their headache. So workers will be happier. There won't be any issues if they are trained and aware, especially women. So there is a clear business case from different business stakeholders to train everyone properly on this topic. And just to answer to Ruva's question, definitely. So we have been working in the garments industry for some time with this program, and with the government, definitely we are happy to have any sort of partnerships and campaigns. If we can do together, we can take it offline as well. But what we can immediately offer is all our tools and materials are on the website, and it is easily downloadable. And everyone can download it and use it for their own purpose. Because our training has 6 modules. It starts with how to use mobile financial services, how to use digital financial services, what are the products and services. Then it goes into the financial capability part that starts with the financial planning, then budgeting, then savings, and how to talk about finances with your family members. Because we felt that for women, it's absolutely necessary that there is a joint decision-making process in place in the family. Otherwise, there will be arguments and chaos over account uses and using their money, etc. Because in our country, still male-dominated, and still women needs to fight for what they all, what their rights, for their rights, they have to fight for it. So that's why I think it's important, like on the financial issues as well, there is a discussion in place in the family level. But however, though it's like, very detailed topic training that we do, but there are, different models that we have, piloted this year with different providers, like different training organizations, different financial service providers. We have piloted light touch training as well. The report will be published I think in the next year. So you will see that, light touch tools and materials that can be used in Bangladesh for any sector for this sort of training. So immediately we can definitely offer those tools and materials for everyone to use. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think we received one feedback from one of our participants. So he mentioned that we can target shopkeeper group for financial literacy. If all kind of buy and sell transaction is possible through DFS, most of the people will be motivated to adopt this system. Okay, good. Another feedback from another audience, he said that introducing QR code can be leveraged, the digital transaction in the rural area. So it is a feedback from another participant. So now I'm going to for my next round questions to Ms. Afurza Tanzi. So I think the last panelist is Smita. You have heard that she mentioned, like banks said, so bank have limited capacity, limited, maybe they have resources, but not the human resources to engage them in the financial literacy work for different types of customer group. So in this context, actually, what type of innovative tools and techniques that we can use to include massive like rural group in the financial literacy program?
Thank you very much for the question. Can you see? I cannot share my video.
Sure.
It says the
I
host
think you
has
can
stopped.
go on. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, now it is okay.
Okay. No. So let me just speak. I'm sorry before the video. So to answer the question very specifically, I would say there is no magic tool when it comes to rural areas.
You are muted. Ms. Tanzi, you are muted.
Hello?
Yeah, now we are hearing you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry for it's the network difficulties. So to specifically answer the question, I would say we need to intervene in the communities, and then we need to start and show them how digital literacy and digital finances work. So we cannot just enter the community and tell them this is how it works. Rather, we need to go check if all the women or all the families have NID cards or not. If they do not have, we need to support them in getting the NID cards. Next procedure, using the cards, we can help them to get the digital finance accounts. And then for every next transaction to where they work for, or wherever they're getting the money from, or however they're handling the transaction, they need to use that account. And this is how the practices can include their lifestyle into the digital finances. And they would know that there are services that they can use. Because if we just tell them that you can use these services, it would not be enough, and they would not take it as a change in their lifestyle. So what we have to do is we cannot just give them the weapon. We need to teach them how to use the weapon. And this is, I think, is the most important part here, that the access to information, the access to literacy, that how these things are working. Because the things that we think are very simple and very normal, because the digital finances options are so much normal in our life. We need to normalize these options in their life as well. And this is the first and foremost basic thing that we need to include in the life of rural people if we want to include them in the digital society.
Yeah, thank you. So another questions from another participant. So he said, we central bank along with financial institutions are on the supply side. Can we tag compulsory literacy channel for every financial products, like the literature paper found with medicine that described uses, precaution, etc. I am not talking about contract for financial product. So he's suggesting or asking, so can we introduce the literature paper that we have seen in the medical sector? So so any panelist can answer this question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yep.
Sir, you proceed.
So basically, Mr. Amirul has, proposed that can we, make it compulsory for financial services products providers that for with each product they should attach a brochure, like the pharmaceutical company usually attach a brochure with each of their products, like syrup or whatever it is. There is a brochure, the positive side, negative side, doses, and all those things. So whether central bank can do it or not, I would say it will basically overburden the providers, and because this is one way it will overburden the providers, and the other way it will only only go to the literate people, those who can read this kind of brochure. But the problem we are facing is much more critical in the bottom of the pyramid segment. Those who cannot, even if they can read, they don't understand fully whatever it is written, what is the real impact of the information that has been given in this brochure. So that way, yes, to some extent this can be helpful for literate people, but in general it will not be, I would say, not be a breakthrough innovation in the financial services areas. This is my personal opinion, not not as a central bank.
Sure. Shoheli,
Sir,
do you want
add,
to add anything?
add something? I agree with Ashraf sir that this will be an incentive for literate people, and most of them already know about the pros and cons of the financial services. But this is an innovative proposal, and central bank is always up for innovative proposals. And what we can do, we are saying robust form of mobile uses, and people in rural area are already using smartphones. So though there are less habit of using banks website, but we can direct them when they tap on a financial product or service. They can direct the client to a video or something like that, or a cartoon or demo that we see in the TVCs, like in mutual fund products or the banking products. But most of them do not state about the negative sides of the products, and banks will I think it's a big hope from them that they will tell that my products have these faults. But we can start that the mobile apps add some features, some videos about the products, how to use them, and the apps direct the less educated people to the uses of the product or service, banking service. Thank you.
Thank you, Shoheli. So now, like questions to you. So as already Mohammad Shahriar Siddiqui had told that Bangladesh Bank is working and already drafted a guideline for financial literacy in Bangladesh. Hopefully, we will get the guidelines soon. But according to your experience and observations, do you think that can we like declare something like financial literacy week or month to motivate all financial institutions and private sector organizations to work together on financial literacy issue?
That's a good proposal, and financial inclusion department will be happy to accept it. But during this pandemic, we all know that we discuss gatherings and many big programs.
Yep.
As you know that we always arrange some school banking conferences, but that's also stopped during this pandemic, and their local agent conferences or many other these kinds of programs we arrange repeatedly, but for the last 2 years these programs are stopped because of the pandemic and the risk factors. But we are thinking about starting it in the next year, a new year, a new hope. So we think we can start that very soon if the pandemic doesn't get worse. And the proposal is very nice. We think we can do it from the Financial Inclusion Department.
Thank you, Shoheli. And we also hope that the pandemic will over soon and we will return back to our normal life. Thank you. So now, Mohammad Shahriar Siddiqui sir. So last questions to you. So how we can leverage the agent network in Bangladesh for the financial literacy work for the poor population?
Thank you again. Actually, from Bangladesh Bank, we are working with the agent banking operations there. The agent banking, we first started and issued guidelines in 2013. That was from the first was the payment system department, and later we have supplemented some other regulations with the green banking and CSR department. Now is the sustainable policy department, and also from the banking regulation and policy department, we issued several guidance notes. And finally, actually, we incorporated all of these items into the one basket and prepared one new prudential guidelines for the agent banking operation in Bangladesh in 2017. That guidance is working very well. And if we look at the statistic that so far 29 banks is working with the agent banking, and they have their agents, more than 13,000 agents, and they have the outlets, more than 18,000 outlets there. And if we look at the transactions there, we have 12.91 million accounts. They are working with these transactions. So transaction is the bigger size right now. So it's fine that we are working, and agent banking is doing fine for the financial inclusion in Bangladesh. But whenever we look at the NFIS document, the NFIS identified 3 common factors which are responsible for the financial exclusion. I mentioned the financial exclusion in the Bangladesh. They identified first that difficult to access localities. That is we have a lot of remote hilly areas. We have a house chore with difficult and the underdeveloped areas with the poor infrastructures. Secondly, they identified the demand-induced impediments. That is the low income group, lack of financial education, social exclusion, constraints to availing the economic opportunities like that. And third one is supply-led bottlenecks. That is the distance, location of the bank branch, inconvenient timing, and cumbersome documentation. So all of these items actually will be considered. There is a tremendous scope for the digital financial services and the agent banking issues there. So far we are happy with the agent banking, but if we look at the report of the 2, especially those reports, we take into considerations that the World Bank Group's, that is the World Bank Group Global Findex data, and another is the IMF Financial Access Survey. So World Bank Global Index data, that is a little bit back in 2017, but in IMF Financial Access Service data that was in 2020, they work with the data from 2017 to 19. That shows that we have a progress, but report also shows that despite the recent gain, Bangladesh still possesses the scope to reach the South Asian average in most indicators on financial inclusion, which themselves are low relative to the global standard. So there is no scope to be complacent. So we need to emphasize on the financial inclusion. Moreover, we can work with the agent banking. And now actually we recently we introduced another tool that we are actually issuing the sub branches. They are the sub branches of the branches. So this also work to include more people with the financially included. Thank you.
Thank you. So last questions to Ashraful Alam sir. So I think we have received a lot of suggestions, comments today on financial literacy. So according to your, as you mentioned, this is your personal observations and suggestions. So what should be the next fast step to move forward on that?
Thank you, Tohurul bhai. Basically, I would say that we have a lot of initiatives in Bangladesh, from the government, from the private sector, from the development sector. There are a lot of initiatives, but we need to connect these silos in the public sector, in the private sector, as well as in the development sector. So just like one person was asking that can we basically utilize the shopkeepers? So Tohurul bhai, as you know that during my days in the UNCDF, A2I UNCDF has been working on the micro merchants, and also later on Bangladesh Bank has also come up with policy support with the guidance on small merchant, adoption of financial accounts without trade license. So that way, basically, three sectors: government, the private sector, as well as the development sector, can work together to connect the disjointed initiatives here and there. That will basically help to scale up initiatives all over the country. Like agent banking has been a game changer in the rural areas. So this agent banking model can be extended to Miss Tanzi initiative. What she is doing in the rural Bangladesh, like HERproject as well. So this can be an agent of, basically, I would say, that financial literacy agent. So they, and then how to basically scale them up, how to make them sustainable. Government cannot provide, or development sectors or development donors cannot continuously provide them donations. So we need to connect them with the private sector institutions or providers, like HERproject. Smita was saying that the private sector, the RMG owners as well as the private sector providers understand that they need to do it, but they have capacity problem. So here, HERproject or Ms. Tanzi's initiative can work, and we can connect. The central bank or the government can connect them with the private sector provider. Like in the agent banking, banks are providing commission to the agent for onboarding customers. Similarly, this HERproject or Ms. Tanzi's project can be given commission by the private sector provider for providing training to potential clients, and once the client onboard into a platform like bKash or UPay or Nagad or whatever it is, they should provide a commission to the, this agent of financial literacy, so that both, this will be a win-win situation. Both HERproject and initiatives like this will be sustainable, and it will be a market-led initiative. I am in favor of market-led initiative. So this can be, in my opinion, this can be a game changer in the future for accelerating financial literacy and making it market-based approach and making it sustainable over time. Thank you, Tohurul bhai.
Thank you. I think this is the most important factor, that different organizations are doing different things. I think we now we have the time to connect all these initiatives and work together. So from A2I, we recently are working to introduce two concepts, I think, which will contribute for the financial inclusion as well as financial literacy in the financial inclusion ecosystem in Bangladesh. So we are launching a special program. We named it Shathi. Basically, we are targeting to introduce or set up a women agent network all around the country. Basically, this women agent network will especially focus to create access and develop the capacity of the rural women for financial inclusion, and give them or create the opportunity for rural women to have financial service at their doorsteps. And also, as you may know, that we have another initiatives last 10 years, the digital center networks all around the country. It is a state facilitated one-stop center for digital services. So with these, and most of the digital centers are now providing different types of banking services to the rural people. So from A2I, we are planning to establish like a digital and financial literacy center based on these digital centers all around the country, which can be a permanent touch point for the rural people, where they can get different types of financial and digital advisory services and knowledge and informations from these centers, as well as we are planning to capable these centers with different types of tools and techniques, so that they can continuously conduct financial literacy campaign and events with the rural people all around the country. So now I am coming to Mr. Rashid from Digital Finance from Bangladesh for Thanksgiving for today's webinar. Rashid bhai.
Thank you, Tohurul bhai. First of all, I want to thank the audience, because the audience was more than 70 plus in whole of the session. So it's really encouraging, because when we organize session, we have to arrange many things, but when we get lots of audience, it's really encourages us to organize more events in the future. Our heartiest thanks, heartfelt thanks to the audience. And other thing is that there is in the panel, there is 3 female participants, and there is 2 panelists, male panelist, and a moderator also there. So we first time probably we ensured that 50-50 gender participation in a program. That is really encouraging, because we always try to encourage our female colleagues and female participants to speak and to come to the in the leadership. That's very important, and we actually done it in this program. At the same time, I want to thank the Tohurul bhai and A2I team for supporting this program, as well as conducting the program very efficiently. Also thanks to Ashraful sir, our advisor of the Digital Finance Forum Bangladesh, as well as the alumni of the Digital Frontiers Institute. Also Smita and Tanzi also. And lastly, but not the least, thanks to Mohammad Shahriar Siddiqui sir. He is also the General Secretary of Bangladesh Bank Officers Welfare Council, and also is a star officer of Bangladesh Bank. She attended this program, and it will encourage our officers to participate such programs and speak to public forums, as well as participate the ongoing scholarship program of Digital Frontiers Institute, supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So thanks to all on behalf of Digital Finance Forum Bangladesh. Good night.
Thank you, Rashid Bhai, and thank you all the distinguished panelists, today's keynote speaker, and the participants who are listening us today. So thanks from Digital Finance from Bangladesh and Aspire to Innovate project of ICT divisions. And hope if we can work together. So I think this will be a game changer of financial literacy area in Bangladesh, and we are looking forward to working with you. So see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.